Next we will be looking a little bit deeper into various areas of the mixer and what various parts of it does. First, let's have a look at the connectors. How do you actually connect something to it? Normally you have some form of an input. In front of you now you can see an XLR and a jack input, and let me give you some more description about jack, XLR, RCA and several other connectors and how they work. In my hands I presently have a jack-to-jack cable. Many of you will probably recognize this. This is a male jack for obvious reasons. This is a female jack, male and female, and that is exactly how cabling and wiring is described. So this is a jack to jack, as you can see, jack to jack, male to male. This is a female jack connector. Next I have an XLR cable, again the female for obvious reasons, and the male for obvious reasons. These are XLR, some people refer to them as Canon. Another set of cables that we use on a mixer desk are RCA cables. These are two RCA male cables connected to a mini jack male. And you can clearly see the difference between stereo and mono. The mono one has the sleeve and the tip. The stereo one has the sleeve, the ring, and the tip. We're not going to get too deeply into connections and how cables are connected, just to make you aware of this. As you can see, this is a female RCA to male jack converter. Those are some of the cables and or connectors that are used to input sound into a mixer. Jacks, as I've said, come in mono and stereo format. In the modern age you often get the mini jack that still has an additional ring to it that they use for video in your small video cameras and these type of devices. They often have the option of left, right video, and then of course the sleeve, which is ground. Again, I'm not going into the connections in too much detail. XLRs come in balanced and unbalanced format. Again, we'll discuss that later. RCA is typically used for video, for tape decks, for CD players and those type of things. Typically the XLRs and the jacks are used for either microphones or instruments. There is something else that you need to be aware of. On the mixer desk you will see there's often the XLR input, which is typically for a microphone or for an instrument. And then you have the jack input, which is again for an instrument or a microphone, obviously both of them female. And then often at different places you have RCA inputs, as you can see. Many mixers have an additional jack input, a female jack mounted, that is called insert. We will talk about that in more detail as we talk about signal flow, but simply be aware of that. And then lastly, something that I cannot show you unfortunately, I do not have a mixer available with that facility right now, but you get another connector which is called the direct out. I did refer to it a little earlier. Essentially what happens is, as the signal comes in, it is immediately split. One half of it goes into your mixer desk, the other half goes to the direct out, being able to connect it to another mixer desk. And there are various reasons and applications for this. Things such as monitor mixers sometimes are done like that. Things such as recordings that are done live at a concert are treated like that, where you have one mixer desk that gets the inputs and they're actually mixing for the house, but there are direct outs from all the channels going to a separate mixer in a totally different room enclosed where they're actually mixing for video or recording. That is something that it is often used for. But there are many applications which again we may get to at a later stage. Simply be aware that these facilities do exist.